In this episode of Coral Reefs and Rock Music Wakes Up Orion, T-Scream of Alex and Ryan. An Alex and Forgotten album actually came out. Keyboardist for public radio. Now on Rocks and Rock T-Music.
Spread my wings. Let me fly.
A wonderful, miraculous bird that I am. Oh, God. This is going to be an episode.
Oh, that's the only like word you can use to explain it. Just
I like that. It was originally it was like a descriptive all the way down. So like so funky. So we're recording.
Oh yeah, so of course we're recording.
We always have these nice natural introductions. I set it up that way so it doesn't sound like we're totally, I don't know, we're not robots.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not until the end of this episode.
We will turn into robots.
Funky robots.
Funky robots. This is our 10th episode.
Episode number Diez. Diaz.
Number X.
Episode Cameron Diaz. In the face.
Did you think we would make it this far?
I did, actually. I'm surprised that we're not on episode 80 yet.
We just don't want to rapid fire and bombard people with subpar performances.
No, not yet.
No, more of a progressive subpar performance.
Yeah. Once we get our 401k set up, then I'm going to bombard you guys.
We buy our t-shirts and hats and mugs.
And our autographed bullets, because we're going to be marketing everything.
Can you do an autographed bullet?
Yeah, I'm sure you can if you got a Sharpie.
Shit, that'd be amazing. Alright, so Riff and Rock Music Talk, episode 10. We are here. We're here to talk about some albums.
You certainly are.
I don't know. What do you want to start with?
Well, we've got 3 albums lined up for you guys today. The first, I guess, will be... Let's talk about Macklemore.
This album came out actually a while ago, if I'm not mistaken.
So this is... the first album we're going to be talking about is Macklemore and Ryan Lewis's The Heist, which I believe came out in 1971. Oh, no, sorry, I'm thinking of a film directed by Richard Brooks.
It peaked at number 1, and I guess had no mainstream promotion or support. It's on his own label.
It came out of nowhere.
More or less. And it's become quite the sensation. Has a couple hits, such as ones you've heard of, like Thrift Shop and Can't Hold Us, and a couple more that are coming through the pipeline, such as Same Love.
Oh yeah, the popular one. It talks about
equality for sexual orientation.
Oh yeah, that's what the subject matter is that song.
It is hard with Macklemore's songs to really miss what he's actually singing about. He's a very literal lyricist.
He enunciates like none other.
Yeah, and there's not much metaphor or anything like that. He just kind of goes, like, if there was a song about how much he liked tacos, he wouldn't rap it and be like, the salsa seduction has wrapped me so in a flowery embrace. He'd be like, man, I like tacos. They're the shit.
Crunch tacos, soft tacos, fish tacos, it's all good. Meanwhile, that song would be number 1 on every chart in the world.
It'd be better than his dance song.
Song's embarrassing.
What was it called again?
And we danced.
Yo, what was it? I think like from one of his earlier EPs, and it's him in a spandex suit.
It was a leotard.
Leotard dancing.
For 6 minutes.
Well, fortunately, we're not talking about that album or that song. We are talking about The Heist. And what did you think of The Heist?
I think it's one of the top 5 hip-hop albums to come out the last year and a half.
It's a bold statement.
It is.
You know, I'd be hard-pressed to totally disagree. There's not much more I can think of that'd be like that's that up there. I think what for me worked about it was the just how diverse it was. There was not sort of a central theme. He kind of went just throw everything at this, and you want a trumpet in this song? There's gonna be a trumpet.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a violin here.
Ryan Lewis is a very talented producer, unless he's really lazy, but I can't tell. I can't tell what he is. He's talented, but if you ever watch like any live performances, he just kind of hangs out, and the music just plays itself.
Well, that's kind of a problem with hip-hop shows in general, is the DJ or the MC, not the MC, the DJ or the guy who does the production just kind of hits play on Ableton and maybe throws in a phaser effect here and there. It's gotten so lazy to the point where a lot of hip-hop performers will perform like with the backing vocals still in the background.
Yep.
So last summer, I watched the stream for Pitchfork Music Festival, part of it, and there was a guy, A$AP Rocky, and literally it was just like his CD was playing and he wasn't even like rapping over it. He would just shout once in a while. Like, so you paid money to go see a guy hit play on a CD player, and then he just like wave his arms and say yeah, and then at some point two hipsters got in a fight.
Oh, man, if only it was that easy. For us, at least.
For us, we'd have to actually think of all that good rappiness to accommodate it before we run around stage and wave our arms and ask for weed.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time before we just get to hit play, and you guys have to listen to us. And then every once in a while we say, yeah,
come on!
That's a very in-depth criticism. Yeah. But speaking of like other producers that just kind of hang around, I recently went and saw the Postal Service live in concert. You know how it's Ben Gibbard and that other guy that like is a DJ producer guy? Well,
the guy who makes all the music?
Yeah, he makes all the music. So there are 4 people on stage, you know, the whole band, like the original band. But this producer guy, like instead of just hitting play, he like had out his like Moogs and he had his little touch pads. And there's at one point in one of the songs, I forget which one, but motherfucker took out a melodica. You know what melodica is?
Yeah.
It's a piano that's mouth powered. And he was just like going to town. He was auto-tuning it at the same time. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what Postal Service song even has something that resembles a melodica.
I don't know. He brought it out. It added a lot of flavor to it.
I think that's like the one thing this album doesn't have is a melodica, because it has just about everything else in the world imaginable.
Trumpets, choirs,
a country ballad,
banjo.
Yeah, and that's the thing I liked about it was it wasn't just the same kind of theme over and over again. He's like, you know what? No, this is my country rap song, and this is my gospel rap song, and this is my party rap song.
And this is one I made about some shoes I used to have.
Yeah, and again, that goes back. It's very literal. There's one song, Wing $, and it just hit talking about shoes and materialism and how bad materialism can be. And that's all it's about. And it's very straightforward. He's just like, man, I got some shoes.
And it'll make you tear up. Like, you might actually weep.
Yeah. One of his friends died over a pair of shoes.
Over a pair of shoes in Seattle. Think about that.
I mean, like, you know, maybe they're just sad because they have to listen to Frasier all the time. Mm-hmm. Or Grey's Anatomy.
Everything is compared to those 2 shows in Seattle. This cup of coffee is pretty good, but it's not as good as that one episode of Frasier.
This cup of coffee is pretty bad. It's just as bad as that episode of Grey's Anatomy. Which the only thing I know about Grey's Anatomy is there was an episode where a guy exploded.
That's twice as much as I know about that show.
Well, there was an episode, and you'd figure an episode where a guy explodes would be, you know, maybe season 9 or 10, where they've gone, okay, we officially ran out of ideas. It was like season 3 or 4.
Wow, they jumped the shark already?
Yeah, they jumped it. So anytime my girlfriend mentions Grey's Anatomy, I'm like, did anyone blow up? She gets very mad. He's also beats himself up a lot in this album. He talks about his addictions and his inability to love. Unlike, I think, normal rapists who would talk about how, what?
Rapist.
I guess rapper? Is that the...
No, rapist is fine.
No, rapist. You know, he's a little older than 18, so he's not a statutory rapist.
He's rapping for the kids.
You know, like Shaquille O'Neal did. He was a statutory rapist.
Remember, that's rapist with 2 P's.
Yes. And if you analyze rap, you're an now rapist. No. A normal rapper, he doesn't talk about how great he is. He's not like, man, I got this sweet car and bubbly champagne.
Except for with the song Make the Money, which is about a car.
Well, okay, there's a couple exceptions. And White Walls, I think he's talking about a Cadillac. But
oh wait, that was it. White Walls was about the Cadillac. It's kind of like Kanye's first album, where he's very standoffish, where he's like being humble, except for that one song where he talks about, and I quote, cash, money, and hoes again? Or no, jewelry? I don't remember. That was a bad quote.
yeah, that went downhill for Kanye pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm going over here now because I can't quote Kanye.
He's gonna go sit in the corner until he can think of what Kanye said.
Sorry, I can't think of Kanye's quote.
But the general sense of honesty in his words, and again, because he's not really wrapping it up in any sort of metaphor, he's pretty blatant of, I relapsed. I was a drunk.
Uh-oh.
I had expensive shoes.
And he has a very, very deep voice, like an abnormally deep voice.
I don't know if it's abnormally deep, but it's got this sort of like gravelly sound, like he ingested a box of thumbtacks before going into the studio.
Yeah. To rap really fast.
Yes. Or sometimes sing, I guess?
And we danced.
No, not the dance song. There was no dance song.
Had a really, really, really great time.
And we had a really, really...
Oh, yep. I wouldn't be surprised if this was nominated for a Grammy this year.
Oh, it will be, no doubt. At least for, like, Thrift Shop or is a single.
Because I thought it came out more recently than October.
No. Well, I think it came out and just kind of went under the radar for a little bit because he wasn't really a big person before this album came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I think...
But it got #1 within an hour of its release.
Well, then maybe we just are old fuddy-duddies that don't catch the latest hits.
I'm not a fuddy-duddy.
You're fuddy-duddy. Do that fuddy-duddy. Well, we did review that Rush album about 6 months after it was released.
We totally did.
Or that
Avett Brothers album.
About 5 years after it was released. Or that Dismemberment Plan album about 15 years after the fact. You speaking of Thrift Shop, I don't know if you felt the same. I kind of felt like that was the most awkwardly placed track on this whole album.
It was the third song of the album.
No, I understand that, but like...
Oh, when you listened to it, it was at the end.
Yeah, okay, I did listen to this album grossly out of order, which, yeah, then it was out of... But everything else has sort of a more somber, to an extent, somber tone, and then all of a sudden, Thrift Shop, he's sampling himself going like, what? And then it's about going to thrift shops and how t-shirts can be expensive.
But it's placed right behind the party anthem, Can't Hold Us. So
yeah.
It's like you build the hype, like get the hype out of the way, and then on to the serious issues.
Yeah, which was weird too because the hype building was track 2. You usually don't. You build hype near the end because you're like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, now we got the hype back. Not like, all right, here's the hype, and then it's gone. You have to hang on to all that hype for another 60 minutes.
Well, you got to remember this is also a pop album, so pop albums always have their most successful songs right at the beginning.
Yeah, to be fair, 10,000 Hours, Can't Hold Us, Thrift Shop, and Same Love all appear within the first 5 tracks.
And then the next 10 are somber.
Well, Bomb Bomb's instrumental.
It is. Oh my god, it's such a great.
That was a good song.
That's a good ass song. Bomb bomb ba boom. See that? Ryan Lewis, y'all.
What?
Ryan Lewis, the producer.
Yeah, he did a good job.
He did. It's very suspenseful, to say the least.
Yes. And
well, do you think that anybody should buy this album?
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't bought it, because this album's been out for over half a year, it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you're a fan of pop or hip hop. And if you're not, I think it's worth listening to just for the fact that it breaks the conventional mold enough. You're gonna get a nice, unique experience out of it. It's not just gonna be another hip hop album. It's fresh, it's clean, it's so fresh and so clean.
I just hate his name.
Macklemore. What is to Mackle? Because he's doing more of it.
Well, it's like a name, like an actual name.
But that's not his real name.
No, it's not his real name. But like there are people whose name, their last name is Macklemore.
He should do like a stripped down album called To Mackle Less. One thing I want to mention, is it just me or is the main beat for Can't Hold Us the same beat for Stronger by Kanye West?
Daft Punk?
No, the one that sampled 21st Century Schizoid Man.
Oh, Power?
Power. Yeah, it's Stronger. Power. Has the same kind of just a doo, doo, doo. I mean, I know that's not really that can be applied to anything, but it sounds exactly the same.
Almost, but instead of like the piano in Can't Hold Us, it's people clapping going, But
there's na-nas.
Oh, that's true.
And then they stole things from Robert Fripp.
We could go on the, like, that one website, the YouTube Doubler, and have two videos at once and play at the same time. Or sync them up.
I could just do that with the DJ stuff.
You could.
I might do that.
Okay.
Okay.
You heard it here first. Alex is going to do it with that DJ stuff.
And I guess a praise also for Macklemore is he didn't make Robert Fripp quit music.
That's true. And isn't it self-produced?
Yeah. Self-produced and self-released.
So if you buy it, you're supporting independent artists.
Yeah, Ryan Lewis produced it.
Yeah.
I was, one last comment I'll add to this is I was pleasantly impressed with the song, now I can't remember it, but it was one, I think it was Awake, where he was talking about, like, white privilege, and I've never figured that someone would mention white privilege in an album that wasn't being blatantly intellectual.
Interesting.
He just kind of threw that in there, and I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, I honestly didn't pay too much attention to that song. Sorry. I was too busy thinking about how much I valued my $100 shoes with the song before it. But I mean, if you want to play them a little bit,
that's the thing though. Now you're clearly missing the Macklemore message.
The MM.
Yeah, hit MM's MMO. The MMMMO.
Do you want to play him a little bit of
How about like he'll get to like an Eminem contract? So we have like Eminem, MM's MMO.
White privilege, yeah.
Yeah,
it is quaint. It's not in your face. It's not like Kid Rock going, "Yeah, I'm white. I'm from Detroit." Oh.
Well, that'd be Kid Rock more just talking about how great he feels because he is white, as opposed to race relations and stuff. You're gonna bridge the gap, Macklemore.
A lot better than Brad Paisley and LL Cool J.
What did LL Cool J to ruin race relations?
You've never heard the song "Accidental Racist"?
No, I did not.
What?
No.
All right.
So at this point, Ryan made me stop the podcast and listen to the song. It's terrible. Don't put yourself through it.
All right. So, what do you think, Macklemore? Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely. I think you guys, every single person, should listen to this album. Not only because of the subject matter and Macklemore's pure rapping flow talent, but because Ryan Lewis knows how to make a good song.
He's a darn good rappist.
Whatever you say, Alex.
So Ryan, actually the other day I got a letter from a fan. You wanna hear what this letter said?
Yeah, what did this letter say?
It's a Dear Riff and Rock Music Talk. I'm a big fan of the show. Been listening since episode 1. But I'm a bit of an intellectual, and I'm looking for some snobbish music to make myself feel superior with. Can you help me?
That's an interesting letter.
But do you think we can help him?
I think we can.
With what?
With Vampire Weekend's new album, I Think I Forgot My Tuna Upstairs. Or what's the actual name of the album? Seriously, what is the name of the album?
I think it's called Frankenstein Monday.
No, it's My Vampires or Modern Vampires of the City. I think I forgot my tuna upstairs.
A hot tuna surprise, indeed.
Indeed.
Yeah, Modern Vampires of the Suburbs is the third album.
It's of the city, right?
Yesterday's Vampires of Calgary is the third album by New England clam chowder band Vampire Weekend. They broke it big, 2008 with their debut album and their song Punk.
It had really nice. The cover is really nice.
Is a chandelier. Then they released their second album, which was that pensive-looking picture of a model, and then they got sued for it.
Yep.
And now they used someone else's photograph for another album cover. They have a tendency just to go, well, we'll just take this photograph and that.
From Instagram and just put their name on it.
No, to be fair, this one is from like 1963.
Oh.
It was the smoggiest day in New York City.
Ooh.
But I would not put it past them for the next album to be like, this is a picture of a ham sandwich from Instagram with a sepia tone filter on it.
Yep.
You share your opinion first of 23-year-old vampires in Brooklyn.
Well, this is like, the band itself is composed of 4 people. A drummer, who's the only talented person in the band. A bassist, who is ignored. They turn his volume all the way down.
He is absent for most of this album.
He's like a band member's like younger brother who just wants to be included, and so they let him stand around on stage. The pianist just upsets me because he has absolutely no talent.
In what way?
In the way that he can he knows how to play a chord. As far as like being a backup singer, he's all right. But they might as well just get rid of the actual singer and quote-unquote guitar player and just have him sing and then the drummer and then the bassist. So,
but the bassist is mixed out, so he's pointless as well.
Yeah, so just be the drummer and the guy doing the backup vocals.
And he wouldn't even be playing the keyboard.
He would not be playing the keyboard. He's not allowed near that piano.
The thing is, a lot of these songs sounded like it consisted of nothing more than a backup singer and a drummer.
Exactly.
It's very bare. Like, the first song, Obvious Bicycle, has like a drum beat and a guy. I don't remember. There might have been a keyboard part.
It's very, very bare bones.
Yeah, not so subtle unicycle.
Yeah, I can just imagine the pianist like with his tongue sticking out, like really nervous, like playing 2 chords. Then, then congratulating himself when he hits the 3rd chord on beat.
He just like points and goes, "Nailed it!
Got it!"
Like, damn it! We have to dub that over now.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's just oh man, this album got some massive praise from the press, and I don't understand for the life of me why.
It's the same press that earned Mumford & Sons that Grammy. Don't forget.
Pitchfork claimed that this album was, quote, changing lives. I mean, I guess it didn't really specify in what way. I guess this album could make you suicidal.
Or give up on music in general.
Yeah, and you just go like, screw it, I'll be an accountant.
Whatever, dude. I'll learn to play 2 chords and turn my volume down. I'll be in a hit band.
I will apologize that, yeah, there is a bass in Obvious Bicycle, but it's
obscured by that shitty piano player.
Really, I like in Unbelievers, he plays 2 notes. He just goes do 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 do, and he's like nailing it.
And I did not like that song. Actually, I think I liked one song, and it's where they get kind of kooky. That's Diane Young.
I had to disagree with Diane Young, and its biggest issues with this album is they implemented this thing where they would shift the pitch of the singer instead of him, trying to sing higher and lower notes. Or maybe getting like LL Cool J to rap over it. Or they just go, would it be zany if we shift the pitch? And it sounds terrible. I am sorry. It's the worst thing they could have ever done. It just sounds so goofy and stupid. Not to mention, in the music video, they set a Saab on fire. And Saab isn't a car company that's around anymore, so there's limited amount of Saabs. So fuck you for burning Saabs, man!
What's this one?
Which one?
For Don't Lie.
Don't Lie? Oh, Don't Lie, they mostly just stole Pachelbel's canon.
What band hasn't? Vitamin C's done that. Green Day, maybe.
Green Day stole Pachelbel's canon?
I think so.
I mean, I understand every musician, if they want to make a ballad, will at some point steal Pachelbel's canon. But if you're claiming this album is changing lives, and then the refrain is blatantly ripped from Pachelbel's canon, fuck you for even proposing that. Then I could make a whole mix CD of songs that stole Pachelbel's canon.
And would it change lives?
I don't know, for better or for worse. You might make it go, I gotta call my mom and tell her I love her.
I need to go call my mom and borrow her gun.
I gotta divorce my wife.
I need to turn back to the religion. At least they have good music.
At least they play Pachelbel's canon correctly, properly.
That's sense.
And yeah, it was just some cheap organ synth. That was another problem with this album I had, was there's a lot of synth work, and a lot of it sounds really cheap.
Guess who is doing the synth work?
Ryan Lewis?
No, that asshole that plays the
Rick
keyboard.
Rubin?
No, the asshole with the piano.
Brad Paisley?
I wish.
I looked at the credits, and they had like accordions and trumpets, like guest musicians there. But for any of the strings, like, no, we'll just like go on Ableton or FL Studio and use a synth. And it sounds really cheap. Most of this album sounds really cheap, like it was recorded in a weekend. And like, do you want
Vampire Weekend?
a vampire? Whoa! This is more of a Twilight weekend.
Oh god.
I can't listen to Yahé without getting genuinely angry.
Oh man, that song pisses me off.
With the that's what it sounds like.
If you guys like soft indie folk, like Mumford and Sons, but with a little edge, like a New England edge, check out Vampire Weekend. If you don't, if you like real music, listen to Macklemore and Ryan Lewis.
I wanted to make a quick shout out because, and genuinely before we record this episode, one of our guests and also guest writers, Corey Dieterman, again, he writes for the Houston Press, and he posted an article about why he disliked this album too. And it was so bizarre how in sync we were with our thoughts. I wanted to read a quick quote. Read just a little couple paragraphs here. Hopefully Corey's okay with this. And again, this is just sort of pulled from the middle. And again, quote, now we get tracks like Ya Hey, perhaps the most obnoxiously overwrought pop song of all time. The lyrics are the most painful, religiously tinged lyrics I've ever heard. Kunuk asks God why he continues to love us when we don't love him. While a chorus of the worst vocoder backing vocals money can buy backs him up. And somehow this isn't a parody. Meanwhile, the song moves at the most glacial pace imaginable. I would agree. Also, this turgid beat is employed for almost every song on the record. When it does pick up the pace for the rockabilly-esque single Diane Young, Kunuk ruins the song by manipulating his voice with the most annoying effects in the world. It's the best song on the record, but the second Kunuk starts playing around with the pitch shifter, I want to strangle something.
I think he has a really good point. Take that, Vampire Weekend.
Yeah, I don't get why you would just screw around with it. The songs could have been totally acceptable as just cheap pop rock. Like, that's kind of stuff you find amusing when you're 10 years old and you first figure out the recording software on Windows 98.
Yeah.
And you're like, change tempo, crazy. And then you want to sound like the Chipmunks or sound like you inhaled a bunch of nitrous. Stephanie Meyer's Weekend at Bernie's.
In the City.
Something. I'll say I liked Worship You was a good song.
Meh. That's all I'm going to say. That's my opinion on that.
There was another song I was totally okay with. Hannah Hunt, I was okay with, sort of a slower ballad. It didn't sound like a considerable amount of it was stolen from Paul Simon. Like they broke into his house and just stole a track.
Take that, old man.
Stupid Paul Simon.
You no good kids, get back here. We're vampires.
I would love it if Vampire Weekend ditched the boat shoes and like just dressed like vampires. Or vampires with boat shoes. Like, Vampire Weekend.
Get him with the bass. Okay.
As soon as he starts playing, like, turn it down, turn it down, turn it down. But turn the keyboard up. He's nailing it.
He's getting this. Actually, when they played on Saturday Night Live, they had an additional keyboardist.
Why?
No, he was actually a pianist, an actual musician, and he was the best part of that entire experience, except for the drummer. Drummer, whatever your name is, just quit the band, join our band. We will be more famous than Vampire Weekend will ever be. We will be called Buzz and the Aldrins. Part 2. Because there's already a Buzz and the Aldrins.
Was that actually really a band? I thought they were just lying the last time.
I was lying last time, but...
So is there genuinely a Buzz in the Aldrins?
There will be.
Okay.
But when the drummer joins us, then we'll do part 2.
Okay. The sort of African pop rhythms, I guess, that exist in the first album, I'd never heard them, but apparently they're there, are just long gone, and now it's...
We're talking about Vampire Weekend, right?
Right.
Okay.
I never heard them, but apparently there were Africana tinges in there.
What went wrong?
I don't know. Someone decided to read a copy of God's Not Great and go, well, let's make a bunch of comments about how God is stupid and we're going to feel pretty proud of ourselves for stating something about 1,500 million other people have said.
Oh, yeah. But the drummer's good.
Drummer, you're great.
Good on you.
Considering you're the only person in every song. You did a good job working with this material.
I'm done with this album.
He should do like a Ginger Baker and then go like learn with Femi Kuti.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Ginger Baker went to learn with Fela Kuti.
And then you should make your own salsa merengue band. And you should be called the TV Tuners. And they should pay me for giving you that idea. Thanks. Don't buy this album if you value your life. What you can do is, in about 30 years, when, music is on the slope or whatever, go to a used record store, buy it on vinyl, throw the record out, and put in a better record. Put in, I don't know, the Macklemore album. That way, whenever you look at it, you're like, oh, that's right, this is where I hid my Macklemore album.
Or if someone like looks in your record collection, like, I'm gonna listen to Vampire Macklemore. You're like, yo, let's put this on.
Let's do this. It's hype.
Can't Stop Us is the second track. It carries the hype through the whole album.
Hang on, let me go get my trumpet. I want to play along.
One more album we want to talk about. Many, many years in the making.
Numerous years. At least 10.
Like 15 years.
I think it's the album we've all been waiting for.
Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. The first full-length album since Human After All, excluding the live album and the Tron soundtrack.
The Tron soundtrack doesn't really count.
I mean, there's that song Derezed.
Yeah, it doesn't really count.
Yeah, so more or less it's their first studio album in 5-6 years.
At least.
But when did Human After All came out? When? 2005, so 8 years. It's been forever since this quirky French duo has released an album, and since that time, a lot of other quirky French duos have come out into the scene.
Oh yeah, there's Air,
Justice.
I
think Air might have been around. Well, whatever. But I don't know what it is about the French and electronic duos, but they seem to do it pretty well.
They do. Unlike those weird German electronic duos. Now we dance.
Who did that?
I don't know.
But usually Germans come in pairs of fours.
Yeah, that's right. They come in squads.
Squads. And then they just stand like robots and wish they were robots.
While wearing robot parts on their chest instead of their heads.
And then they sing about autobahns. But yeah, this album has gained sort of a weird mixed reaction, I think, from the general public, with a lot of press giving it lots of praise, and the general public either really liking it or hating it because it doesn't sound like what Daft Punk has put out before.
Which is, the songs Daft Punk put out in the past are disco-esque, electronic, house, crazy songs. And this album, it's disco-esque, crazy house-esque songs. Only they've got more real instruments instead of just samples.
And they have a little bit more of a mature vibe is the word I would think of.
Yeah, like they've got it figured out.
Yeah, it's like the grown-up version of their stuff. And there's something you said before that kind of threw me off when people were complaining is, my favorite Daft Punk album is Discovery. And if you listen to Discovery, a lot of it isn't super happy dance time stuff. Songs like Night Vision or Voyager aren't really specifically, songs you'd play at the club.
But things like One More Time and Crescendos, you can play at any club.
Oh, yeah, and they're timeless. Admittingly timeless albums. And so I think that's what threw a lot of people off, is that there's only, 3 or 4 songs on here that are really dancey songs.
You think so?
Well, Give Life Back to Music, the obvious Get Lucky, Doing It Right, maybe?
Lose Yourself to Dance? The other Pharrell Williams song?
Yeah, Lose Yourself to Dance, too. But But then there's a lot of stuff like Touch, Motherboard, Giorgio by Morador.
Oh man, that song is crazy.
I love Giorgio by Morador.
Oh man, you guys need to listen to that song.
They call me Giorgio Miotor, but
And then-
everyone just calls me Giorgio.
Georgie. That's what it's like.
Yeah,
Only a lot better.
I love this track. And a lot of people complain just because, like, oh, it's just some stupid Italian talking.
Like, do you know who that is?
I don't think a lot of people realized who it was.
It's the man who invented techno music.
Basically, there wouldn't have been a Daft Punk without Giorgio.
There wouldn't have been a lot of music you people like without him. I want to make music for the future.
And that's kind of, oh, what I was going to say. I don't know, I lost it. But I think it's a cool track, and I think it's just kind of fun that he's just telling his little story, and then they're adding all these cool beats behind it, and
Yeah.
very well orchestrated.
And they like one thing that Daft Punk does that a lot of people don't realize is that they take their recordings from their albums and then they mix them together live
Yeah.
and they make super songs. They make meta songs.
Yeah, the Alive 2007 album is just one giant mashup of all their material. And some of this is going to mash up pretty disgustingly if they do a live version of this.
The good kind of disgusting, right?
Yeah, the good disgusting, not like Modern Vampires of the City disgusting.
Yeah. Like listening to the first song of this entire album, immediately I could already see them mixing it in with Get Lucky,
Yeah.
which, you know, we've all heard like weeks before the album came out.
And I think that's also what threw people off too, is Get Lucky is actually oddly sort of the odd duck of the album. Where everyone kind of went, okay, maybe it's going to be sort of like a retro disco album, and Get Lucky doesn't really sound like much else in here. In my opinion, at least. Everything else has a little bit different vibe, and Get Lucky is the more straight disco dance song.
I don't know. Lose Yourself to Dance and Get Lucky seem to be like very close knit because they're both with the same lineup.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. I'd say, but other than that, it's a lot of tracks on their own are unique. It's not a lot of repetition. You got songs like Touch and Motherboard, which are sort of slow and intricate. I love Touch. That song just cracks me up.
Touch is great.
Not in a laughing kind of way, but it's just...
Well, I don't know. At the beginning, I thought it was Lou Reed singing, and then it brought like war nightmares from Lou Reed and Metallica's album Lulu. It's like, no, not again, not Daft Punk, no. But then it got better. It wasn't Lou Reed.
What about like a Lou Reed Daft Punk album?
Oh God.
It was like... I hate you, my dog prostitute. I love you. Get married. Tables.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very good.
But I read a complaint about Touch that it was just too schmaltzy and over the top, but I thought it was well done. I think this whole album is overindulgent, but I think in this day and age where too many albums are too reserved, too stripped down and simple, I love that Daft Punk decided to go, here's 70 minutes of music, we're going to throw in everything and the kitchen sink. Screw it, let's just do everything.
And you can definitely hear the kitchen sink of the last song, Contact.
Oh, Contact is
where
disgusting.
all hell breaks loose.
And that was... You would never have figured that Daft Punk would ever make a song like Contact. I mean, just a sick jam.
It was a great song.
It's a good song. It's so good.
That's an amazing song.
Yeah. That was one thing I didn't expect was, with a Daft Punk album, I kind of figured the drums would be pretty like house music, but they're all over the place.
They are. They touch on a lot. And I think the fact that it's like they do a lot of collaborations in this album makes it even better.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a smart move.
They've got Pharrell, they've got Giorgio,
Joe.
that guy that kind of sounds like Lou Reed, Julian Casablancas from The Strokes, tons of different people, all...
Panda Bear.
Yeah, Panda Bear, that song is amazing.
Yep.
They all, like, without them, the album would be good, not perfect.
Right. It was a smart move to include a bunch of people, make it a little bit bigger, not just two guys hitting buttons, not blatantly sampling things. Which, as much as I love Discovery, some of those tracks are... It's like, we just hit play on a track and sped it up.
That's true. But, I mean, they still have, like... They still did collaborations back then.
Yeah.
Like with
yeah.
Romanthony. rest in peace.
Yeah.
And other people.
Right. So it all works. And there's a lot of some people are making comments about how it's very much just like a disco album, but I have to disagree in the sense that there's way more to it. I hear a lot of Kraftwerk or Tangerine Dream, like that early German electronic music, especially in songs like Motherboard or Doing It Right, have some of those vibes. But then there's a lot of sort of new ideas in there too. Touch, even though sort of like a painful love song, has some like weird sound effects thrown in there, sweeping across the soundscape, stuff that you probably wouldn't have, I don't know if it would have been really as common back then. You wouldn't have heard a Giorgio song, I don't think, with just weird breaks like that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Overall, I think it just works phenomenally.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you recommend
Definitely.
Definitely. Do you recommend this album to anybody?
Oh, yeah. I think I'll be hard-pressed to find anything that really tops this year.
Well, according to the critics, Vampire Weekend has already topped it.
The critics are stupid this time. In regards to Random Access Memory, I was listening to Sound Opinions, the guys on NPR that do the music review show, and they said this was like a burn someone's copy of this at best.
Really?
They also said that Tangerine Dream and Kraftwerk were European prog music, so I got a little confused as to what exactly they were talking about.
Yeah, that's... I don't know what they're
You guys are wrong. I'm calling you out.
Yeah, we got beef. Say something, punks.
Please find us. It'll give us publicity.
Yeah, and then we'll school you on what music actually is.
Yeah, but definite purchase. It's such a good album.
I agree. I think this is, aside from the Ghostface Kill album, I think this is the second best album of the year so far.
Oh yeah, you really like that Ghostface.
That Ghostface, you don't even know.
I have not listened to the Ghostface Killa yet. There's couples. I mean, there's some stuff coming out in the summer that's going to be interesting to listen to. We'll have to definitely nail it.
Black Sabbath.
There's a Black Sabbath album. New Queens of Stone Age. Bosnian Rainbows. Zavalas. Kesha.
Miley Cyrus. I think.
You're just saying names.
No, I'm just saying names.
9 Inch Nails is putting out an album after many, many years. Though, to be fair, I've never finished a 9 Inch Nails album.
I'm sure you have. You just don't remember because it flows so well.
I like Downward Spiral.
That's a good one.
That's a good song. Oh no, what's the song, the one that people know?
Oh, 99,000?
Want to help me? I broke apart my insides.
Oh, Closer.
Yeah, that's the song. I don't even know the album. I just know the song. You know who's on that album? Adrian Belew.
God damn it. Is he really?
I am not joking. Like, hold on, let me pull it up. But
Man.
Adrian Belew, and as I wrote on my first of my quartet of Adrian Belew posts, the second one coming soon, he is on everything. Genuinely on everything.
I was humming to myself while walking down the street yesterday. Was he on that?
He probably was. Or at least he sampled it. And that was, I mean, he was on Frank Zappa, then he was passed to David Bowie, who was passed to Talking Heads, passed to King Crimson, was on Paul Simon's Graceland. What else was he on? Yep, he was on 9 Inch Nails, The Downward Spiral, and The Fragile.
He produced Jars of Clay? Wait, that's not by Creed, is it? Okay. Wait, is it?
Wait, of the so-called... Yeah, that's...
Oh, that's not Creed. Never mind, it's a band.
From Greenville, Illinois. He played with...
He was on the Essential Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey, Tom Tom Club, which actually there's some bitter history there. E = MC Squared by Mariah Carey.
Cyndi Lauper, Asia.
More Cyndi Lauper. The Bears. Paul Simon. Joe Cocker. Tony Levin.
Between the Buried of Me? What?
Porcupine Tree. Old Dirty Bastard.
No, what?
William Shatner. Patti Smith. Aren't you just mad now that like he's on
Jerry Lee Lewis?
he was on everything you've ever listened to in your life? He just
The Executioners?
I bet he wasn't even like asked to be on these albums. He just kind of showed up. He's like, "Hey guys,
He's outside a recording
hey,
studio.
get out of this studio." Wyclef Jean. More Cyndi Lauper, Les Claypool,
Tori Amos. The other another old dirty bastard.
Oh man,
Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Outlaws with Tupac. He hung out with Tupac.
He's a composer. 9 Inch Nails. We're only in the 90s. We haven't Fleetwood Mac. Sarah Hickman. A lot of Cyndi Lauper and Mariah
Rick
Carey.
Derringer. Gospel Gangsters.
Sister Carol.
The Elvis Brothers.
Love is Colder Than Death. Al Cooper. Tuck Murphy.
Vol Movement.
That's a good name.
Big Daddy Kane. Yeah.
Kindred Wave. Marty Webb. Santa Sabina. Ryuichi Sakamoto. Scarface.
It's been on everything.
Yeah, he's basically been on everything. David Bowie. The Mac Band.
Zimbabwe legit.
Andrew Dice Clay. Andrew Dice Clay.
Look at Andrew Dice Clay.
He's like this awful comedian.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how he's a composer. Andrew Dice Clay.
Iron Christ.
Yeah, so Jerry Harrison. Max Q, Scruffy the Cat. So yeah, that's the gist of it. He's on everything. You can't escape him. He is in your head.
He's in your bed.
He played the song Red. Never was on tour with the Grateful Dead. Wicka 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 wicka.
Wow.